Hello and welcome to Mind Shifters Radio. I'm Tim Hayes. I'm your host for the first hour. And today is Wednesday, February 24th, 2021. As always, we're grateful to everyone who's joining us here today, whether you're joining live or listening through the archives, as we spend another couple of hours teaching and supporting people in using some of the most powerful, effective, efficient, and accessible tools I've ever encountered in my over 46 years of doing therapy. These tools are gratefully available absolutely free on the website at whyagain.org. And if you go to that website and click on the red and white bullseye, or the link in the upper left-hand corner of most pages that says Start Here, it will take you to a page where you can download and read Chapter 24 of Dr. Michael Ryce's book. His book is titled, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And that chapter of that book provides a narrative description of the primary tool in this work, the reality management wake-up sheet or worksheet process. And that's a tool I've been using to great effect, positive effect in my life for the past over 16 years. And it allows me to effectively use any negative emotional state as an infallible guide in my life to restore me to clarity, to get a truer perception of what's actually going on, make better decisions, improve my relationships. And so we are encouraging people to take advantage of that tool. You can actually download the actual tool itself. It's a simple PDF file. Click on the link, download it, print it off, and use it as often as you'd like. And you can also go to your app store and type in the 3 words Heartland Aramaic Forgiveness and get access to a completely free and private app that contains the reality management worksheet process, an abbreviated version of that process, and a copy of the Dragon Klingon game, which is a wonderful way to introduce these tools to even younger audiences. You can also download and listen to an entire list of audio files of shows just like this one, and like the one yesterday where someone was actually stepped through the worksheet process, and those audio files can then serve as a tutorial for you. And with repeated listening and application, trying it yourself, you can master this tool in a relatively short period of time. And once mastered, you can gain tremendous benefits in your life for years and years and years. So we encourage people to do that, take advantage of the completely free access to the tool and the benefits of using the tool, and then call us with your comments, questions, clarifications. Our call-in number is 563-999-3581. And if you call that number and press 1, it will put a little question mark by your phone number, and I can announce you by your area code, and we can have a conversation. And we are hopeful that people do that soon and often, because it gives us the ease in living into our intention. Our intention with this internet show, 5 days a week, current format is 2 hours a day, going into our 11th year, is to be of service. And when you call that number and press 1 and let us know how we can be of service, it makes it easier. You can also email Jeannie at JEANIE at whyagain.org, or you can email me at TJH at mindshifters-academy.org and let us know your questions there. Today being the year 2021, we've agreed to do the Course in Miracles experiment or exercises, and this is our 55th day. So today's lesson is another review lesson, and it's reviewing Lesson 21, which is, I am determined to see things differently. What I see now are but signs of disease, disaster, and death. This cannot be what the Creator created. The very fact that I see such things is proof that I do not understand creation. I do not understand the Creator. I do not understand the dude or God or Holy Spirit or whatever you want to call it. Therefore, I also do not understand myself. What I see tells me that I do not know who I am. I am determined to see the witness to the truth in me, rather than those which show me an illusion of myself. Lesson 22 was, what I see is a form of vengeance. The world I see is hardly the representation of loving thoughts. It is a picture of attack on everything by everything. It is anything but a reflection of the love of God and the love of His Son. It is anything but a reflection of the love of creation itself and that which arises from creation. It is my own attack thoughts that give rise to this picture. My loving thoughts will save me from this perception of the world and give me the peace creation has intended for me to have. Lesson 23's review is, I can escape from this world by giving up attack thoughts. Herein lies salvation, and nowhere else. Without attack thoughts, I could not see a world of attack. As forgiveness allows me to return to my awareness, I will see a world of peace and safety and joy. And it is this that I choose to see. I choose this in place of what I now see. Lesson 24's review is, I do not perceive my own best interests. How could I recognize my own best interests when I do not know who I am? What I think are my best interests would merely blind me closer or bind me closer to the world of illusions. I am willing to follow the guide creation has given me to find out what my own best interests are, recognizing that I cannot perceive them by myself. The last lesson for review is Lesson 25. I do not know what anything is for. To me, the purpose of everything is to prove that my illusions about myself are real. It is for this purpose that I attempt to use everyone and everything. It is for this purpose that I believe the world is for. Therefore, I do not recognize its real purpose. The purpose I have given the world has led to a frightening picture of the world. Let me open my mind to the world's real purpose by withdrawing the one I have given it and learning the truth about it. So in this lesson, in this review lesson, I do not know what anything is or is for. We can find the root of why it is so important to do the cancellation of goals process, to do the ancient Aramaic forgiveness process, to get clear about what our mind is showing us and what our thoughts are telling us and what negative emotions our thoughts are generating, and then cancel all of it, withdraw our identification from it, and ask to be shown something else. I do not know what anything is or is for, and yet, every time I have anger come up in my system, I think I know exactly what's right and what's wrong and how I'm right and the world is wrong, or how I'm all screwed up and I've ruined everything and the way life is unfolding is not the way it should be, etc. And that is why it is so critically, fundamentally necessary for me to cancel everything I think I want. my trifling treasures put away, and leave a clean and open space where something can teach me when I ask to be taught. What is the world really for? What am I for? What is my purpose? What's the purpose of the world? What does my brother and sister need? How can I be of service to the flow of creation in this moment? Let me open my mind to the world's real purpose and ask to be shown what that is. Let me cancel my purpose for life and the world and align with the flow of creation as it unfolds. So the Course in Miracles experiment by Pam Grout, the title of that 55th chapter is Miracle 101. She quotes Richard Rohr, who says, "The people who know God well, mystics, hermits, and those who risk everything, always meet a lover in God, not a dictator." Pam writes, "The need to know that true reality presents a world of peace and safety and joy." And from the jukebox, she chooses the song Better When I'm Dancing by Meghan Trainor. The we will part of We Will Rock You is, life is a poop show. The We Will Rock You part, 6 local plumbers were lined up outside my friend Benita's rental apartment. They were shaking their heads, rueing the fact that the serious clog in apartment 5A's water line could not be fixed for less than $8,000. And that was if they were lucky while digging up the drainage pipe. One after another, the local plumbers unanimously agreed there was no other solution. $8,000 was the rock-bottom bid. Benita might have bought it, except that she hadn't budgeted $8,000 for that month's repair bills. Benita decided to ponder it for one more day. She decided to let the dude, creation, God, light, love, whatever you want to call it, reveal an answer. She decided to do what most of us forget to do, and she asked for a miracle. The next morning, at a meeting in Kansas City, Benita asked colleagues for suggestions. One plumber's name came up repeatedly. "Well, why not?" she shrugged. "So what if he charges extra to drive from out of town?" She explained her situation, told him what his fellow plumbers had all concluded, and he replied, "I can do it for less. In fact, I'm so sure I won't charge you my travel time." He walked into the apartment, and within an hour, the $8,000 problem was fixed. Benita's bill, $200. Despite what all the local stuck-in-the-old-reality plumbers say, it pays to know there's always a different reality once you get out of town. So those are our thoughts for today. Those are our review lessons from the Course in Miracles and Pam Grout's book, The Course in Miracles Experiment. And we have 45 minutes left to do whatever might be of service to you. Our call-in number is 563-999-3581. If you call that number and press 1, we can have a conversation. How can we support you? Yesterday we had somebody work through an entire worksheet, and today Susan wants to say hello. Welcome, Susan. Well, I'm trying.
Oh yeah.
Are you there?
Okay, I'm here. Yep, I'm here. Thanks for yesterday. There was real breakthrough there. That's been an old issue, and it was very helpful. I have several things I'd like to talk about, so please tell me if somebody presses 1, and, I don't have to do them all. But today we just had our Zoom group, and one of the women said she needed to work on her feelings about what's happening politically in our country, and, it's all the big, juicy issues. Well, all of us are concerned, so we said, let's do a group worksheet, which I've never done before. Everybody pulled out the same worksheet, Michael's 7-step. We went through it, each of us taking turns and filling in the blank as we wanted to, and the rest of us filling in what we wanted without saying out loud necessarily what it was. And then we went all the way down it, round robin, down the worksheet, and had the most amazing enlightened goals that were all fairly similar, because an enlightened goal has to include love. It just has to. So I just wanted to say that it was an experiment, but it really was great to go through it. Everybody felt better. They also knew how many other worksheets were lined up that they had to do. Everybody's worksheet was a hydra, so they were all writing down, oh, another worksheet, okay, another worksheet. But I just wanted to tell you because it was very festive. A lot of laughing, and too. It was just great. So, report
Wonderful.
number 1.
Great.
Yeah. I had a question about the slot where it says, I want to punish. Is a punishment always there somewhere? I know in Tim Bingham's worksheet yesterday, you found a punishment in a thought or something. I forget what it was, but you had him fill it out, whereas he wasn't finding a punishment thought. Oh, you were going to. No, I can't remember. But
well, his
yeah.
situation was that the way he was lining it up, it seemed most useful to say that the trigger was the negative thought. And so the punishment thought for the negative thought was, I just want you to go away.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's enough of a punishment thought right there. I want you to go away.
Okay.
I want you to leave me alone. I want you to die. I want to put your head through a wall. I want to punch you in the face. I want to tell everybody what a jerk you are. Any of those could serve as a punishment thought. Now, your question is there always one? In absolute honesty, probably there is always one. Can I always find one? Not always. Do I want to stay there until I find one? Not necessarily. But if one comes to mind, I want to be as honest as possible. You know, the primary thing we tell people is the more deeply honest I can be about my worksheets, even, the ugliest, the most disgusting parts, the more productive the worksheets will be.
Right. Well, that leads me to another question. Our oldest member, and I say oldest with all respect because she's like our mentor and very wise, very loving, even-tempered, bright woman whose career was as a mediator. And so as soon as she told me that, I said, I would like you to co-host with me. I want you to feel free to pipe up anytime you have something to say in the way of from your own experience. And she does, but she is a reluctant worksheet doer. I gave her, and I gave them all, I said, I want you to do one worksheet this week. That's how rudimentary we are. We'll do them on the Zoom show, but I haven't asked them. I haven't given any assignments. I said, I want you all to try the worksheet, really get into some issue. And they came on today, and she hadn't done one, and she hadn't remembered the assignment, and she said she wouldn't have had time, which is really interesting because we're all shut in. But I am reluctant to push her. It's almost as if she's saying, look, I've really found a nice settled place in my life and things are going well. Some things bother me, but I understand that I shouldn't let them in, and I should just think about something else. And so I haven't pressed her, and I'm afraid to press her, although we had an incident at the end of our meeting when she said something like, well, this really does make me really mad. And I said, there you go. There you go. That's the thing. If you say something makes me feel anything, you are in denial and you need a worksheet. She said, oh, that's very interesting. But that's as far as we've gotten, and it's been weeks. She's with us, and she's great. She always says she gets so much out of it. But have you ever had this situation?
Well, I've had the kind of situation that you're describing in the group. I don't respond the way you're responding.
Okay.
I don't tell anybody they need to do a worksheet. I tell people they could benefit from a worksheet. I told that to somebody last night. But I also told the person last night who was so agitated that she could probably benefit more than from more than a worksheet. She could benefit from doing EFT tapping. And then somebody else said, yeah, and then do the worksheet tomorrow. And I said, or not, right? Maybe you tap for days. There's no urgency to get to do the worksheet. And this idea that you know best what's for that other person, that's a trap for you.
Yeah.
That's something for you to do worksheets on. It's not something for the other person to do worksheets on.
Okay, that's very helpful. I realized I have a goal here. Yeah.
And if you have any tension, that comes up in relation to that goal being met or not being met, then it would be more productive for you to do your own worksheet than to talk to somebody else about their need to do a worksheet.
Yep. Okay, good.
You know, I can mention this now with full ease, because the person is no longer in the body and would probably agree 100%. But the person who created and began the Tuesday support group, which is now in its 17th year, it'll be 17 years at the end of the summer that we finished. His name was David. His last name was the same as mine, no relation. And he started that group, and he spent a considerable amount of his mental, emotional energy in anger and resentment and frustration about the people in his group not doing worksheets between sessions.
Oh, okay.
So much so that when I took over the group, there were only one or two people, maybe three, that came sporadically, and they were gun-shy of my anger.
Oh.
They were worried that I was going to be angry. And I just kind of chuckled at that and said, why would I be angry? Well, because I didn't do a worksheet. And I said, okay, but who told you how to do a worksheet? Well, David did. I said, okay, well, but David's not here.
Yeah.
And about 2 years after the fact, David hadn't been around for a couple of years, one of those people was still doing worksheets on how she was, in quotes, traumatized around that dynamic with David.
Wow.
And his anger and his vehemence and his insistence that people do the worksheets and live up to their commitments, and there would be this bristling and tension when that didn't happen. And that was not the group's issue, that was David's issue.
Yes.
So, one of the things about this work that makes it so useful is that it has the potential to be applied the way Krishnamurti would apply it, which means from top to bottom, inside out, upside down, and backwards and forwards, in every which way, consistently. So if we say nothing outside of me creates my emotional response or my emotional state, it's true always. Not just sometimes, not just on Tuesdays and Thursdays when we have a group, but all day long, every day, from the beginning of creation till its end.
Wow.
So if you have a negative, if you have a tension, if you have a frustration that someone gives lip service to something but doesn't do it, that's your worksheet.
Yep. Good. Noted. Thanks.
You know,
I have another question.
What?
Oh,
Okay, well, let me say one of the things that I was going to share. It might be relevant here is that last night in our Tuesday support group, which is available on Zoom, was another sterling example in my mind of how 6 or 8 people can all watch the same talk, presentation, video, series of events, whatever you want to call it, and come away with very different emotional responses and reactions and interpretations. And last night was so powerful for me because we were presenting a talk by somebody who spoke very calmly, in a very centered, very practiced way about lightness, bliss, love, flow, bliss beyond your imaginings, the purpose of experiencing life with joy and the potential to have more energy and aliveness and joy in your life than you could imagine. And several people watching that were enraged.
Yeah.
Just absolutely to the point of needing to do EFT tapping, because the worksheets were just too much, because the energy of anger, resentment, rage was up so strongly. Now, what was it in their interpretation that was creating that? I don't know.
Yeah.
But not everybody who listened to it was moved to anger and rage.
Yeah. Oh boy, that's good. Yeah.
So if I have somebody who's attending my groups, just one more point. If I have somebody who's attending my groups and they say they don't do the worksheets and they want to keep coming and listening because they enjoy the camaraderie or they like the videos we show or they whatever, and they're just pleasantly participating. They're not being disruptive. They're not naysaying. They're not raging at people. They're just participating. Then I say, okay. And I don't feel any compulsion to pressure them to start using the tools. My assumption would be I have enough to work on to get myself to use these tools on a regular basis and keep myself dressed and fed and showing up to work on time. I don't have the bandwidth to live somebody else's life for them.
That's a relief. I'm breathing. That's good. Very good. Globally good.
All right. What else were you going to ask or share?
In my worksheets, I know this is just arbitrary, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I usually pick 7, 8, 9. At the end of the worksheet, I rarely put down a number lower than 4 or 5. And I'm just wondering about what that means. I guess it can mean a number of things. I guess I always think that no issue is going to go totally away. Anyway, that's just something that I notice is happening, whereas in our group today, one of our members said that his level of upset went from 5 to 2. The others of us were like 9 to 5, 8 to 4. I don't know if I have a question in that or not. It's an observation.
Well, I think perhaps you're comparing apples to oranges, and perhaps you're overthinking it.
Yeah.
So just sit with that and let yourself observe it for a while and notice what happens. Right. Maybe you're thinking in terms of the global nature of this issue in your life, and will you ever need to do another worksheet, rather than how am I feeling in this moment?
Yeah, that's good. Hmm. Okay, well, is anybody press 1?
Nobody but you. What do you got?
This is a big, old issue that I have not dared let it even into my consciousness until recently, which I take as a sign of increased vitality because it's so big. Ever since I was very young, I've had a phobia about seeing someone throw up. It might be a stranger, it might be my sister, and it doesn't quite come back to me if I'm sick and I need to throw up. It doesn't seem like, I don't fight it. So it has something to do with people out in the world who are out of control to the extent that they are not able to get to a bathroom before they throw up. And it has been such an intense phobia that I can list, starting with kindergarten, when Richard Kaplan threw up in a little bathroom and it was widely publicized, and everybody looked in the bathroom and saw how he had tried to camouflage it around the toilet by spreading it all around so nobody'd see it, because he didn't make it to the toilet. Or David Allen, who threw up all down John McMaster's back in the 3rd grade. Alice Kaplan, who raced out to the sink, made it. Jerry Bernstein, who did the same thing in 5th grade. I could go on. I have a list all the way up until, you think this is funny. I know, it is.
The only thing I think is funny about it is that you've got their names and the locations, and so what does that tell you about it?
It was very important.
It was very emotional for you. It was very emotional for you. And that's the only way that I would understand, the way I understand humans and memory, that those memories could be that locked in, is that the emotional content is just off the charts for you.
Yeah.
That what you made it mean emotionally has helped lock those memories in.
Right.
So how many worksheets have you done on that?
I've done 1. That's all. I haven't gone, no, that's not true. I think I've done 2. In any case, I don't know what to do with it.
Okay, so what would be supportive for you in coping with, dealing with, or beginning to open up this issue for yourself?
Maybe talking through the worksheet would do it. Actually, you're so good at that. And I should add that today, your forgiveness pattern sheet, I made everybody stop and went through each step of that, because they were all yelling about being right, being right, being right. But I'm right, but this is just obvious, So it was very good to make them breathe and close their eyes and go back. And they all came up with memories. The issue is huge, though, but in any case, yeah, so I, Sue, who I'm experiencing phobic fear. My story is that people who, my trigger is people who vomit in public. My thoughts, that person is out of control, vulnerable, gross, unlovable, and even dangerous. I want to punish the person who vomits by avoiding them and also scorning them in my mind, or never forgetting that they did that, obviously. Peter French in the 10th grade. I mean, I could go on. The lady in Walgreens. They've become contaminated. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
I didn't put that down.
Get back to the worksheet, please. Get yourself slowed down. Let's
Okay.
stick with something that at least has a chance of being productive, right?
Okay.
And right now, if you move into this rationalization, that's blame. And blame never has led to the productive or constructive resolution to a problem.
Okay. So I'm blaming them for being out of control. Is that what you're saying? Yes, I am.
Well, yes, and for your upset right now. And so just take a breath, slow down. See, this is one of those things where when we're doing this in a group, it's so useful because we can see and feel someone's agitation, and you can recommend to them that they take a breath and soften and maybe do a round or two of tapping and get calm. Here, I'm safe. I'm in my own environment, or I'm in the group surrounded by loving people, and I want to just calm myself and then use this process. It's a very simple process. I can breathe and soften and just go back to reading the worksheet.
Okay. So I got to the punishment thought. Is that okay?
Okay, but you're kind of racing, and what I would like to have you do, if you want this to be really useful, is slow it down.
Okay.
Right? So you've got, you didn't really take any time to remember that your essential nature, your very human life is love, is this energy of creation. You didn't remind yourself that the whole purpose of this worksheet is to restore your awareness to that. I didn't hear any point where you said, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to soften and breathe.
Yeah. I was railroading us through because I'm reading a worksheet I did before.
Okay. So if we're going to make it, actually beneficial, you said you'd like to have me talk you through one because, in your words, I'm so good at that. Well, what I'm trying to do is help you understand that there's no magic in that. One of the pieces of that being so useful is slowing down.
Okay.
At some level, reading almost every word on the page, reminding myself every time I do a worksheet of the key principles that the worksheet's reminding me to observe for myself, because every time I do that, it helps me dismantle some of the false conditioning of my culture. And my culture wants me to believe people and things outside of me are causing my emotions, etc.
Right.
So what would you say your upset level is in the beginning of this phobic? How strong is the phobic fear of people vomiting in public?
9, 10.
Okay. Okay. And if you would, what is the trigger? Is it the person? Is it the visual image? Is it people in general? What did you write in the worksheet? Okay.
People who vomit in public.
Okay. And what's probably going to be better for you than people in general is pick one.
Okay.
Right? Pick
I can
specific
pick a woman
person.
in Walgreens.
Sure. Pick the specific person in the worksheet.
All right.
And
good.
then the thought that you're using to create this phobic fear is what?
She's sick. She's out of control. She's didn't plan ahead. She's disgusting. She's vulnerable. She's gross. She's completely untouchable,
how is,
unlovable.
How is that generating fear for you?
Wow, good question.
Those thoughts would seem to me to be generating disgust.
It's a combination,
revulsion, right? So what thoughts would you use to generate fear?
The person is in danger. She's not safe. I'm not safe, seeing her not safe. We are not safe. None of us is safe.
Okay, so how about a thought like, oh my God, if she could lose control like that, I could lose control like that?
I've thought about that. It won't, I haven't let that, well, maybe I have. Maybe I have let that thought come through. I do feel extremely vulnerable when I see somebody that vulnerable. Yeah, that'll be the end of me.
Okay, so the thought is, I'm really vulnerable. When I see somebody vomit in public, your thought that's generating this phobia is, I'm really vulnerable. You just said it.
Mhm. You know, it took a while to get there, but I've protected myself by objectifying them, making them almost not human, so that they are not anything like me. But I am like them. And they're showing me.
Yeah, there's the fear. That the thing that would generate a phobia here is, if it could happen to them, it could happen to me.
Yeah.
And it might be something slightly different, and you can play with it some. What if it's contagious? What if I catch it? Play with some of those as thoughts that would go in 1D, since the worksheet said the truth is only my thoughts cause me to feel emotions. Right? So the thoughts that cause this emotion of phobia whenever I see somebody vomiting in public are what?
My brain was on something there. Can you say that again?
Well, perhaps the thought is, maybe I could catch this. The thought is, I'm vulnerable. What's the thought that you can use, or that you have been using, to generate this intense fear, this phobia, you're calling it?
Yeah, contagious doesn't ring, but being out of control, vulnerable, and completely vulnerable, yeah.
Okay, so write that in there. I'm vulnerable to that. If it could happen to them, it could happen to me. Anything like that. That would be your 1D. And then you were at the punishment thought. What is your punishment thought? You want to publicly shame them?
No, I want to get away from them and fix them in my mind as somebody who didn't cut it. They are... Okay,
so you want to label them as defective.
Yes. Good, that's a good word. Yes, that's a very good word.
All right, and then take a breath. And then we want to do cancel I release and surrender myself, my feelings of phobia, the person who vomits in public, my story about them, my thoughts that I'm vulnerable. If it could happen to them, it could happen to me. The punishment thought of wanting to get away from them and thinking they're defective. I surrender all of that to love. We want to do that before we move on. We want to go over into the column and figure out how to cancel we want to cancel my need to be right and make up another story out of these brain cells that hallucinates proof that I'm right and these people are defective. And and before we move on, we want to go back to number 4 and get a shift in our energy. We want to remember a time in our lives where we felt safe and strong and happy and loving, and and breathe into those memories until we feel a shift in our energy field.
Okay.
Because we understand that when we do that, when we tap into our conscious awareness of our true nature as love, it resonates that energy and it stirs that energy in other people. So breathe into, close your eyes, maybe have your hand over your heart space, some of the most safe, healing, happy, strong, joyful memories from any time in your life until you feel your energy shift, and let me know when you've had a shift.
I'm getting a lot of memories, but the energy is still there, so hang on. It's not really shifting, so.
Okay, well, do you need to think about your cat? You need to think about one of the most magnificent interactions you've had with one of your grandsons. You need to think about the fabulous successes your daughter has had in some of her career moves and helping others and being a light in this world.
Okay, I think I'm doing it.
Okay? And then number 5 says, when I'm upset, my perception's built out of corrupt data. It means I'm using a tiny, tiny bit of information and reaching some kind of a negative conclusion about a fabulously complex, ever-expanding life. It's corrupt data, and it tries to project and blame others for that part of my mind's content. And so I want to collapse the inaccurate pictures my mind is showing me. And to do that, I simply cancel my goal, and I ask to be shown a more accurate way to look at life. So did we set the goal? I guess we skipped over that.
No.
I'm trying to slow down. So what was the goal that you had in this worksheet originally?
That this woman get to a bathroom first and keep her business to herself.
Okay. So that, you know, you might use that, but with what we lined up as your thought, that, you know, you're vulnerable and she's vulnerable and your punishment thought and all that, what about crafting a goal for these people to be strong, competent, in control? If you modified this goal just a little bit and put the control issue in there and the strength and the competence, remember how you said, you know, they're not measuring up, or whatever that phrase was you used for them?
Yeah. They're not conscious. Yeah. I thought the goal had to do directly with the trigger. The woman in Walgreens, my goal for her would be that she get to the bathroom.
Okay, that's a very specific goal, right? But it doesn't feed the theme, right? The thought you're using is to create a fear, is not, oh, look, she's vomiting outside the bathroom. The thought you're using to create the phobia or the fear for yourself is that something about how, if it could happen to her, it could happen to me. I'm vulnerable here. Remember we put in number 1D, your thought?
Yeah.
read the thought that you wrote in 1D.
That person's out of control, vulnerable, gross, unlovable, and even dangerous.
All right,
revolting.
perfect. So the goal that you want is going to address all of those negative thoughts. So I want that person to be whatever would be the opposite of all of those things.
Okay.
Clean, safe, controlled, competent.
Could it be, I want that person to be okay even if she throws up on the floor outside the bathroom? That she's okay. That's my cat.
I want her to be safe. I want her to be okay. I want her to be healthy, whole. We want the goal to address all of those negative thoughts in 1D to help be the opposite of that.
It's so interesting. My goal keeps flashing to, I want not to see her. I want not to know about this. It hasn't really got much to do with her. It's very self-centered, actually. I just don't want to know about it.
That's right, because knowing about it leaves you vulnerable. And so you want her to be safe and strong and whole and happy because that's what you want for you. But in this worksheet, construct the goal, refine it by aligning it with the thoughts in 1D.
So I want to be I want her to be in control, safe, even attractive,
strong and happy.
and lovable. Yeah.
Good. You got it. Safe, attractive, and lovable. Use those.
Yeah, okay.
Breathe into that.
Oh, that's really good. I have a very demanding animal here. Go on, Jack. Get out of here. He's getting in the way of me and my worksheet. There's something to be said about that. But okay. All right, I got it.
All right, and so now breathe into that. That's the goal. Read it again, please. You want her to be what?
Safe, lovable, and I can't read my writing. I forget.
You said attractive.
Oh, yeah, I did. Okay.
Yeah, you did.
Wow. That's a good forgettery. That's indicative. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is so good. Safe, attractive, and livable. That covers it.
All right. So now breathe into that, and now we move down to number 5. You're going to get a whole different result out of this worksheet when you cancel that goal.
Okay. Right.
And the power that's coming from that is because that goal is more aligned with the emotion in this work, your thought that's creating, your negative thought that's creating that emotion, and the actual dynamic and the trigger.
Right. I can see that. Okay. So I'm canceling my goal of her being safe, attractive, and lovable. Canceling my goal for that.
All right. So breathe into that and then invite something other than your conscious logical mind to assist you, to incline you toward healing, restore you to your newborn state of love, to heal your denial that this is all internally generated, and heal your capacity to generate this phobia, and find direct conscious relationship with and gently remove the parts of your mind that have been denied and dissociated here. And then just do this brief meditation. Let me just recite this, and you quietly inside your own mind say it out loud. I cancel my need to be right. I cancel my need for anyone or anything to change, including myself. I specifically cancel the goal in this worksheet. I put my conscious logical mind on vacation for now. Put it over there on the bookshelf. And I just gently breathe and ask to be shown the hidden part of my own mind that's actually creating the upset here. And just breathe and soften and put yourself in that open, allowing space and trust that any thought, any image, physical sensation, sight, sound, smell, taste, anything that comes to mind is part of what you need to see to begin to heal here and move forward. And just breathe and let me know what bubbles up.
A lot of memories.
If you get a memory of an earlier time in your life, just make notes about where were you, how old were you, who else is there, and what's happening.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to relate directly to the first time you saw somebody be sick or you being sick. It doesn't have to be anything that would logically be connected. But trust that if it's coming into your mind at this point in time, it's because it's important for you to see it here.
I don't really know where these are going, but my mind
It doesn't matter. Just make notes of them. Whatever bubbles up, trust it and make notes.
Okay. And what do I do with them?
Right now, you just make notes, and then you take a breath and scan your body and notice the strongest emotion or physical sensation in your body right now, and you write that in 6A.
Not a pleasant feeling.
Well, whatever it is, a knot in your stomach,
Okay.
a lump in your throat, fear, anger, disgust, whatever it is, just note the physical sensation and or the emotion and write that in 6A. And then you've done enough of these so you can, trust yourself to do the last couple parts of the worksheet.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it's just the formula, right?
Mm. Yeah.
All right, so what are you feeling? What's the thought?
Feeling is just a tight chest, nervous. And also the awareness that I've had some gut problems and I've tackled them by giving up certain things, dairy, just as recent, gluten, sugar. But it seems as if when I'm scared, it shows up in my stomach as a stomachache. I don't know how that fits in, but
well, so breathe and soften, and if you're feeling that upset physically, you might consider doing some EFT tapping and breathing, rather than focusing on trying to fill out all the rest of the worksheet. But
thanks. I see it's 1 o'clock, and you have brought me to a different point than my worksheet did, and I can go from here. It's really good, helpful.
All right. Well, I thank you. It was a delight to have a conversation and the chance to support you in this, and I'll look forward to the next time you call in and raise a hand. And I'll mute you so we can do the transition. And I'll remind us all that we come from love. We're made of the stuff we call love. We actually are love, and